Welcome to the Ghosty Girls podcast. This is the super early edition. We're up the ass crack of dawn today.
Good morning, everyone.
I got up when it was dark out, which I never do.
I had to drive when it was still dark out.
And I also may or may not be hungover from holiday festivities.
I may still be high.
Well, yeah, I mean, same, but I was trying, yeah, I had a girls' night with some friends that I haven't seen in a while last night, and the wine was flowing, and Woo. Yeah, and I don't really drink anymore, so it hit me extra hard, I guess.
As it does.
So I apologize for sounding like Lindsay Lohan today. No shade to Lindsay Lohan. She has that gorgeous husky voice.
Hello, my name's Lindsay. I like to drag on cigarettes and dicks.
Yeah, uncanny. But again, no shade. I love Lindsay Lohan. She's doing well too. Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah. She actually, I'm pretty sure she's married and has a kid.
God bless her. Mm-hmm. God bless that child.
Yeah, well, now I think she really got her life together, though. She's been in a couple Netflix movies, like holiday movies. And they say she's doing really well, so.
I'm happy for her.
Yeah, I am too.
And Amanda Bynes is
I know.
off track now, which is great.
Yeah, I feel so bad for her, though, because those kids went through some shit.
They really did.
I mean, those Disney kids, good God. I feel like they all had issues after Disney because,
Yeah. Because, we've all seen the documentary at this point. Nickelodeon. Which one was it?
Nickelodeon, yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say, but she wasn't a Disney kid. She was more of like a Nickelodeon kid.
Brittany and Justin were Disney kids.
Yeah, and look where they're at now.
I mean, Justin's doing pretty good.
Justin just had his little pee-pee on blast.
What?
You didn't see that?
I did not. No, I've been following
one
thing.
Justin Timberlake is on concert. He's on tour right now, and he, I guess, was wearing a harness that showcased down there, which was not impressive at all, might I add. And it really gave everybody the ick. And now he's known as like Little Peen Justin. And I love that for him because he's an asshole. So
I've heard that.
Yeah. So I and it's so funny because I've literally said before, Justin gives off little dick energy. Oh. He really does.
Well, he probably drives a giant car to make up for it.
Yeah. So he just gave off that energy, and it was confirmed last week. So
eeny weeny.
I love that for him.
God bless him.
Did you have a good holiday?
I did.
Good Crimbus.
Good Crimbus, running around like a crazy ass, the usual.
Yeah.
How about you?
It was great, but I want to talk about Nosferatu for a minute.
What?
The Nosferatu movie that came out on Christmas Day. It's so fucking good.
What's it about? No spoilers, though.
Wait, you don't know the story of Nosferatu?
I know.
What the fuck?
I told you, I follow one thing at a time. That's all my tiny brain can handle.
But right Nosferatu was actually a silent movie from way back in the day, a black and white silent movie about. It's actually kind of funny. So it's loosely, I don't even want to say loosely. It's very based on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh. So much so that it's like still considered like a banned movie because of copyright issues, because they basically stole the storyline but didn't ask for it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The history of Nosferatu is really interesting. But anyway, they redid the movie. It was released on Christmas Day. It is a fucking banger of a movie. It's like gothic horror. Oh my God.
It's good.
Everything about it was amazing. So if you are a horror fan, you have to see it in the theater. Like, no excuses. You fucking have to. It's really good.
And before or after you go to the theater, have dinner at Chili's.
I feel God in this Chili's.
Christina got me a pin for Christmas, amongst other things, not just a pin. But it says that, and it's on a little chili. It says, I feel God in this Chili's, and I'm going to wear it every day.
As the good Lord intended.
Amen. I'm just kidding. We're not going to go to church again.
Oh, we're going to church today.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Do I need to preach again? Do I need to sing my song?
I don't know. By the end of this, you're probably going to be like, what in the actual fuck?
Fair.
So, you know how we were talking about, Disney and Nickelodeon and like kid shows and stuff, right?
Did we just perfectly align?
We did.
Holy shit.
It was the most perfect segue that I could have ever segued.
And it was all accidental.
It was accidental.
Holy shit. Look at us go, man. Are we professionals now? Does this mean we're professionals?
We're professional idiots.
Okay, I'll take that. Just the word professional. I mean, boom.
Yeah.
All right, tell me the story.
We watched cartoons as a kid, and like, do you remember those live action puppet shows? Like Sesame Street and The Muppet Show.
Yes.
Fraggle Rock.
Down to Fraggle Rock.
All those puppet shows.
Yes.
There was one called Life with Grandpa.
Don't know it.
You don't know it?
Probably.
You didn't watch Life with Grandpa as a kid?
No, and I'm okay with it.
All right.
Because it sounds terrifying.
So, let's get into Life with Grandpa.
Okay, I'm going to Google as you talk.
Life with Grandpa was a live-action puppet show that was released sometime in the mid-'80s. It focused heavily on teaching children good Christian values and life lessons based on Christianity, like sharing and obedience. It follows a very similar path as many children's shows do, mixing little skits with musical numbers that tie in a life lesson. The main character is an older man who is lovingly referred to as Grandpa. Other characters that were featured in the show include a little boy named Davidito. Yeah. Davidito.
Yeah, yours is better.
And a little girl named Davida.
That's not confusing at all.
I know, right? There's also a mother character named Maria, but she's not heavily featured in the show.
How did they go from Davido, Davida, Maria?
This is one of the weirdest stories you'll ever hear.
Okay.
I don't even have an answer for it. This is just straight balls to the wall crazy.
Okay.
So the main focus of Life with Grandpa is on Grandpa and little Davidito, who is clearly favored over his sister Davida. And this is shown through gifts and constantly praising Davidito, etc. It's clear that he's the golden child. And you'll see why I say that in a little bit. Now, since this is not a well-known television show, and because it is from the 80s, and perhaps because of other reasons that we'll get into, Life with Grandpa is considered very obscure media, and there's not much footage that's actually available to the public. There is, however, a 29-minute video on YouTube, which showcases an episode from the series, which I will link in today's sources for your viewing displeasure.
I found one on Reddit.
In the obscure media.
Yes.
Yes. It's very obscure media. But you're all in luck today because I watched the entire thing plus some other clips that I was able to find, so you don't have to. And here were some of my favorite scenes. First up is little Davidito explaining a time that he was spanked by Jesus for being disobedient. He then goes on to describe a time when he was 2 years old and playing in his grandpa's bedroom. The puppets then act out a scene, which includes Grandpa telling little Davidito that he has a, quote, big mountain with a blanket over his legs.
What?
And tells him to roll his toy cars over it. It's fucking weird, okay? I watched it. It's disturbing.
Shit.
Davidito gets a little overzealous, and Grandpa tells Davidito to go more gently on his mountain.
This is actual child show.
I'm not making this up. I promise you. I am going to link it. I couldn't even make this shit up if I tried because I'm not even that creative. So the mother then tells Davidito that he needs to apologize to Grandpa for being so rough, to which he says, no, he will not say he's sorry. Then randomly, the Davidito puppet falls to the side and smacks his head on a dresser. Grandpa then says, "Whoops, a bonk on the bonkus," and then tells the boy that, like Jonah, Davidito was disobedient, and thus Jesus gave him a little spanking.
Oh.
Yeah. And on to the subject of disobedience, little Davida also got her shit rocked when she was running after they told her not to, and she ended up falling and scraping the shit out of herself. Another puppet named Auntie Sarah then says, "I don't even have a tissue to wipe it with. I'll just have to lick it clean and then spit out the dirt."
I'm sorry.
It then shows a puppet licking the wound. Yeah, this is a kid's show.
I can't.
They then pray over the cut and put a bandage on it. And one of the male puppets, who apparently is not a complete dumbass like the rest of them, says, maybe we should take Davida to the doctor because she needs fucking stitches. Verbatim. No, just kidding. No. But the puppet's like, yeah, she probably needs to get stitches.
Yeah, she probably should go see a doctor.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they do not take her to a doctor, but miraculously, the cut heals with no issue, even though she needed stitches. And Davidito then goes to say that God is a God of miracles, and God healed Davida without the help of a doctor, who would have certainly left her with a huge, unsightly scar. The puppets also talk about how Jesus loves them enough to spank them before a wholesome musical number begins.
Yeah. Lick the cuts.
The moral of that story is that you don't need to go to a doctor. Jesus will fucking heal you.
Yeah, Jesus will just lick it for you.
Oh, God. And and the chef's kiss of the complete episode of Life with Grandpa that is available in its entirety on YouTube is a little musical ditty, which has a beat that I will admit it kind of slaps. I'll give it that. The source material, however, is fucking weird. In this scene, Grandpa is a scientist who is tinkering around with some gadgets when a robot with human breasts attached to the chest comes rolling out into the scene. And this is just exposed titties. Human on a robot. And this is a children's show, okay?
What in the Adult Swim is happening?
Yeah. So this robot comes rolling out into the scene, and Grandpa then sings about putting his key into the robot, which gets her excited while he touches the robot's breasts.
Are you kidding?
No. After the musical number ends, it cuts to Grandpa and his family sitting on a couch where he excitedly proclaims, "Praise Jesus."
For the titties?
I don't even know. Just praise Jesus for everything, I guess. I don't know. Now, some honorary mentions from other clips of the show that I was able to track down include a musical number that tells kids that women should be in the kitchen cooking and taking care of the cleaning. A clip talking about how children need to do whatever their fathers say without question. And a musical number that I'm fucking mortified to admit was stuck in my head the entire day.
Oh, no.
It's a song that goes, "Trust and obey, for there's no other way." And it just says it over and over and over. And I'm telling you, don't watch this because it'll get stuck in your head too. Like, I started feeling like I was part of a cult for a minute there.
It sounds like it's very culty and...
Sounds a little culty?
Just a little culty.
Just a little culty?
A little bit.
So, that brings us to the most important question regarding Life with Grandpa. Who the fuck created this and why? And now, here's the part of the podcast where I'm going to tell you guys to buckle your seatbelts because this shit is going to get bumpy. This is a wild fucking story. So here we go. The gentleman behind the creation and execution of the Life with Grandpa children's show is named David Berg, also known as Moses, also known as Father David, also known as King David, and also known as Grandpa. David was born on February 18, 1919, to parents Hillamar and Virginia in Oakland, California, but he was basically raised in Florida. Even before his birth, religion was super important to David's family. His parents were members of the Disciples of Christ, but were kicked out of the church after David's mother essentially claimed to be a divine healer, which was against the church's beliefs, hence the reason they were forced to leave the church.
He was raised on crazy.
He was. Yeah. It's kind of like a Jim Jones type situation where they started out young and yeah, I guess his mom claimed to be like one of those like TV preachers where she would like touch you and be like, you're healed. Yeah, it's
You have a cut? I'll lick it.
right. So after David was born, his parents eventually moved to Miami, Florida, where both his mother and father were pastors. Even David's grandparents were heavily involved in the church, so this was in his blood and was undoubtedly what started this whole craziness in the first place. David graduated high school in 1935 and then eventually attended the Elliott School of Business Administration. And after serving in the Army, David married a woman named Jane Miller, and they had 4 children together. In 1948, David began his evangelical career and became a minister at the Christian and Missionary Alliance Church in Arizona. This, however, did not last long, and David was forced out of the church in 1951 after allegations of inappropriate sexual misconduct with an employee of the church. David, of course, denies this. The church allegedly also decided to kick David out because of his, quote, differing teachings. No elaboration there, but knowing what I know, that's probably not far from a stretch, as David's beliefs are, to put it lightly, a little controversial. Yeah. So after all this mess, David started a job as a teacher and ultimately met a man named Fred Jordan, who was a minister at the American Soul Clinic.
I have a question, though. What is a soul clinic?
No idea.
Google.
Maybe they collect your souls. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Just church things.
Okay, a soul clinic empowers individuals to realize their highest potential. Through the experience of Reiki and hypnotherapy, you will be inspired to seek deeper meaning, clarity, and harmony in your life. Per the Google.
Okay, so I feel like that's kind of less of like a church, really, and it's more of like a new age type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like if his mom was supposedly a healer.
Ah, damn.
That's probably...
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I'm Lindsay as well.
But yeah, this guy, Fred Jordan, he was a minister at the American Soul Clinic. And Fred actually had David open up a branch. And he opened up this branch of the American Soul Clinic in Miami, Florida, which he also ran as a missionary training school. So David's in Miami, Florida. He is running his own branch of the American Soul Clinic. He also ran this as a missionary training school. And this time frame is kind of muddled, and I found a lot of differing information while researching. So for the sake of continuity and fact, I'm going to go ahead and jump to 1968, when David and his family founded Teens for Christ in California. Now, Teens for Christ consisted of around 40 people and was eventually renamed the Children of God before it was renamed to Family of Love, The Family, and eventually to what we now know as today, the Family International. It's important to note that during this time in the group, premarital sex was strictly forbidden, and the group had extremely rigid beliefs, including no hand-holding and even no kissing before marriage. It was also at this point that a woman named Karen Zerby entered the picture and became David's personal secretary. Mm-hmm. And this chick followed David around like a puppy dog. So... can probably see where this is going. Now, in between all of the name changes of the group, David and his family moved all over the place based on the prophecies that he would have. So he would receive some wild prophecy that California would be hit by an earthquake and evaporate, and they would all move out of California. Like, he would just have these prophecies. He would receive a prophecy of the impending destruction of the United States. So then he would move his group to Europe. So they were just like moving around based on...
So they were called.
Yeah. He also at this time announced that he was divorcing his first wife, Jane Miller, whom he had renamed Mother Eve. And he was remarrying a new woman, Karen Zerby, his secretary.
His puppy dog?
Whom he renamed Maria.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Does your head feel like it's going to explode yet?
I have no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah, the names really made it difficult because when I was researching, I was like, fuck, these people have like 12 names.
Yeah.
And then they're like, a year later, they're like, you know what? We're going to rename you again.
Shit.
It's
and
it's
you
just
shall
weird.
be named Christmas.
It's weird, but I mean, it just cult things, just cult things. So it's at this point that things in the group took a drastic turn. Not only had Karen, aka Maria, infiltrated the group, but David's mother, Virginia, died. And many people believe that with his mother dying, that was the catalyst for catapulting the group into the sex cult that it's so infamously known for.
Okay.
David's mother was apparently a real piece of shit and allegedly brutally physically abused David throughout his childhood. Also want to point out that David was also molested by a family maid, which resulted in David behaving in a very hypersexual manner, which is common for kids who have been sexually abused. Yeah. Instead of his mother, I don't know, getting fucking help for her son, she insisted that it would be a great idea to threaten to cut his penis off for being molested. Like, she blamed him for it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah. He had mommy issues.
Well, and maid issues, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here. I'm just going to say that again.
And this is common with, like, male serial killers. They all have mommy issues. Yeah. It really, man, you can really fuck up your kids. So make sure that if you're a parent, you're a good one, because you can really fuck your kid up.
I'm doing my best.
Many people believe that his mother dying was the straw that broke the camel's back with David. And after years of sexual repression, his mother's death finally allowed him to be free of that. So by the early 1970s, David and his new wife, Karen/Maria, created a practice called flirty fishing. And what this entailed was Maria, as well as other female friends of the group, they would go out to bars looking for lonely men, and they would offer them companionship, which eventually turned into a conversation about joining their group.
So they're prostitutes for Jesus.
Exactly. It was more or less a recruitment tool.
Okay.
Yep. More often than not, these flirty fishing encounters led to sex, which then led to pregnancy, which led to what David referred to as, quote, Jesus babies.
Oh, man.
Now, with the beginning of flirty fishing came the idea of free love and sexual sharing within married members of the group. Flirty fishing also morphed into straight up prostitution, and David encouraged, if not downright forced, the female members of the congregation to have sex with random men in exchange for money, which was then used to fund David and the family of love. So he was basically a glorified pimp. And that's how they made their money.
But he was a pimp for Jesus.
He was a pimp for Jesus. The family of love was forbidden from owning property. They didn't pay taxes. They were not allowed to open bank accounts. They were not allowed to vote. And they were not allowed to attend school. So the kids were all homeschooled with the sex agenda very heavily pushed on them. So they were groomed.
Ugh.
By the late 1970s, David had renamed himself to Moses David. And due to all of the controversy of this religious group, he actually went into hiding and started living in complete seclusion. He did, however, communicate to his followers via what he called Mo letters. And this, isn't that weird? Mo letters, like Mo Lester? Mo letters?
I didn't even put
Isn't that weird?
together. I'm thinking Mo like Moe's. Welcome to Moe's.
Yeah, they were not offering any chips and salsa here.
It's bullshit.
And this is around the time that David and his followers created the Life with Grandpa show, which they originally circulated to only members of the group. But then they started randomly delivering videotapes to homes in hopes of recruiting new members. So, like, you as a mom could, like, open your door and find this videotape on your doorstep. You pop it into, you know, your VCR and you're like, oh, a kid show, like cute. If you're not monitoring your kid, which in the 1970s and 80s, I mean, that wasn't really a thing.
Listen, it was fun growing up in the 80s.
It was, but I mean, parents were very hands off.
Yep.
I mean, it's just that generation. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that's the way times were. So
I have to real quick do a side note. For those of you that are too young to know what a VCR is, it's a device that you would plug into your television and put a VHS tape into it to then play a movie or a recorded show.
Yeah, because this was before the times of streaming. So you couldn't just like look something up and watch it. You had to like go rent it or you had to buy the VHS tape, like at weird times, you know?
Times.
Yeah, my daughter still can't grasp the concept of not being able to watch something whenever you can. Like I told her, I was like, we actually had to go to a store and borrow movies to watch. And she was like, what?
Yeah. And it wasn't free like the library.
No.
You had to go to freaking Blockbuster on a Friday night where you would see all your friends.
Mm-hmm. And you had to get there early or everything would be gone. Mm-hmm. Everything.
Yep.
And there were some movies that you just could like never rent because they were always out.
Always.
But I digress.
Me too. I apologize.
So yeah, these videos would start circulating out to people that weren't members of the group, just like out into the general public. They would open up their door and find a videotape. So yeah, this was another, you know, recruitment tool, and I don't know how well that worked because I think people just kind of watched it and were like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, there were some videos that were circulated to the public.
I wouldn't even listen. It's not the 80s anymore. So I mean, I would have just been like, oh no, didn't see that.
Yeah,
I picked it off my porch.
So in addition to the Life with Grandpa television series, David also created what I would call a graphic novel. It's like a comic book style with like drawings and text, which, believe it or not, was even worse than the Life with Grandpa show. These books were called Life of Grandpa, and these books actually depicted drawings of Grandpa having sex with children and pushing the agenda that sex between children and adults was normal. So these books were essentially used as grooming materials. Now, these books have pretty much been scrubbed from existence because of how vile they are, which rightfully so. But interestingly, Volume 1 of the Life of Grandpa series, entitled Little Boy Grandpa, which is an original copy of the book, is listed on eBay and can be yours for the bargain price of $849.99 plus free shipping.
Oh, that's
a steal.
Listen, shipping's free. I'm in.
Yeah. And like, you know, I like to collect like, you know, morbid curiosities.
Weird shit.
But can you imagine buying that? Like, there's actual like child porn in that.
It's probably listed by the FBI or somebody, and if you buy it, yo ass is getting arrested.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that shit should be in a museum somewhere. Like, because I don't like, I know some people are probably going to say like, it should be burned. It should. And I get it. But also I feel that it's important to preserve some of that history, because if we scrub all this shit, like, we're not going to learn from it. We're just going to repeat our mistakes. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so you could also use it to create a big, giant book of what not to do.
Yeah, what not to do in life.
Yeah.
Don't be a fucking pedophile. Don't start a cult. So by this point, the Family of Love was basically just a straight up sex cult. And one of the fucking wildest things I found in my research is that as children, brothers River and Joaquin Phoenix, and also actress Rose McGowan, were at one point members of this group. No. As kids, their parents had them in this group.
I've heard Joaquin is real weird.
It kind of makes sense now, though, right? Yeah. I mean, he grew up in a cult.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And poor Rose McGowan, she has been fucking through it. Ever since she came out the womb, she has been through it. That poor woman. She's a badass now, though. Another wild fact, according to data obtained from a researcher by the name of Bill Bainbridge, flirty fishing resulted in members of the family of love having sexual relations with 223,989 people from 1974 through the mid to late 80s.
That's like how many unopened emails I have in my phone right now.
That's funny.
It's true.
I think I only have 2,000 now.
That's
Yay!
Let me look. Hold on. 72,330 in my email. My text messages.
You got some work to do.
385 text messages. So if I haven't responded to you, sorry, it's not you, it's me.
But yeah, by that time frame, it was just balls to the wall sex cult. And a lot of that, sadly, involved the sexual abuse of minors. By the mid-1980s, the sexual aspect of the group started to cause some massive problems. There was a huge spread of STDs, mainly herpes.
What? No.
From all the flirty fishing. And also, this was around the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, which resulted in the discontinuation of the flirty fishing. You know, AIDS started, people started freaking out about that. So they really cracked down on the sexual aspect because it was just too, I mean, it was dangerous. I mean,
dangerous.
Yeah. Also, allegations of pedophilia were beginning to pop up. And because of these many allegations, several members had their homes raided by police.
As they should.
Right. Them. But there was allegedly no indications of sexual abuse of children, and the family of love was thus legally exonerated.
This is a lot. I know I've said that several times.
It's a lot to unpack, and it just gets crazier.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So all of this led to the crackdown of sex between adults and underage children. And this was supposedly abolished in 1986 when the group changed their name yet again to The Family. So they were basically trying to like rebrand themselves because they were known as a sex cult because that's what they were. And now they were rebranding themselves. They were a nice cult now.
Yeah, they're The Family.
Yes. Even though the group was alleviated of the pedophilia charges, it's important to note that David Berg's stepchild, named Ricky Rodriguez, alleges that he was repeatedly sexually abused as a member of the cult. And Ricky's story it's really sad and it's really disturbing. Ricky was actually conceived via a flirty fishing expedition by David's wife, Maria. So David was not his actual biological father, but he acted as his actual father.
Got it.
Ricky was the golden child and was also referred to as Davidito. So that's where Davidito comes from. From the Life with Grandpa series. So that's actually Davidito in the Life with Grandpa series. That's actually like a reference to Ricky Rodriguez, his son.
So many names.
I know. Ricky was essentially treated as a messiah. And he even had a book circulated about him entitled The Davidito Book. David even went so far as saying that Ricky would, quote, guide them all when the end times come. And like cults are always obsessed with the end times and all that shit. Yeah, it's weird to me because like cults, they never focus on like actual life. They always focus on the end of the world.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
It's so weird because it's that.
I guess it's a fear-mongering tool.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh my God, the world's going to end. Like we need to do this shit now. Like, yeah, it's a manipulation tool.
Right. It's that lore too.
Yeah.
To draw people in.
Yeah, exactly.
What do they know that I don't?
Right. So despite being called the chosen one, Ricky was treated with anything but dignity and respect. According to Ricky, he was sexually abused repeatedly by numerous members of the group, specifically nannies, who were tasked with caring for him, which kind of goes full circle because David was abused by the maids.
Yes.
So I found that very... I don't want to say ironic, but it's like you're not going to protect your own child from the same thing that you went through as a child. But this is also David Berg, and he's a fucking crazy asshole. To back up Ricky's allegations, the Davidito book that was circulated within the family made numerous references to the sexual abuse of Ricky, beginning at the age of 18 months old. So they started sexually abusing him at 18 months old. This book also included photos of Ricky with naked teenage girls and photos of him at group orgies. So he was essentially a toddler, and they would take pictures of him like sitting and watching these group orgies.
I can't.
It's wild. Ricky's sister, Davida, also stated that Ricky was sexually abused by his own mother, Karen Zerby, aka Maria, whom he alleges began having sex with him when he was 12 years old.
His own mother?
His own mother. Karen/Maria.
Fuck these people.
Yeah. Davida also states that while all this was happening, David Berg was molesting her on the same bed when she was 11 years old at the time. So, like, the mom was molesting the son, dad was molesting the daughter.
So much.
It's a lot to unpack. It's really fucking disgusting. Really fucking disgusting. As a child, this all seemed extremely normal to Ricky. I mean, he grew up in a sex cult. This was normalized. He did not know any better. This was all he knew. But as he grew up, Ricky ultimately put two and two together and figured out how fucked up the family was. Because of all this, he eventually fled the group. Now, Ricky tried as hard as he could to lead a normal life after leaving the cult. He got married. He moved to Washington. He drifted through several low-paying jobs. But for obvious reasons, he ended up having a very difficult time adjusting to being a normal person outside of the cult. I mean...
I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And this is a common story for children who grew up in a cult and left. Like, there was a very high rate of alcoholism, drug use, prostitution, suicide. Like, I mean, these kids, they had been through it. Like, I can't even imagine.
They become actors.
Oh, yeah. And then they get abused even more.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. In June of 2004, something in Ricky snapped, and he told his wife that he had some things that he needed to take care of, and he left. Ricky ended up in California, and he eventually stayed with a couple of former members of the family who had also left. In January of 2005, Ricky uploaded a video stating that he would get revenge on the family for what they had done to him and others. Ricky stated in the video that he saw himself as a vigilante, avenging children like him and his sisters who had been subjected to rapes and beatings. He also vowed to save his sister named Techie from the cult. On January 8, 2005, Ricky invited his former nanny, Angela Smith, also his molester, invited her over to his apartment under the guise of rejoining the group. Ricky was also desperately trying to find his mother, and she was this Karen Zerby lady, also Maria. She had basically gone into seclusion as well, and Ricky, he wanted to find her. I don't know if this was planned or if he just snapped, but instead of having a conversation with Angela about rejoining the group and finding his mom, he ends up slitting her throat and killing her.
I mean, I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah. Ricky then fled the apartment, called his wife to confess to the murder, checked into a Holiday Inn, drank some beer, ate some beef jerky, and then took his own life.
It's the last meal, huh?
Yeah. I love me some beef jerky, though.
I know.
But sad fucking story.
That breaks my... I mean, he could have taken out a few more of those assholes before he...
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He really was a vigilante.
I know. He's like the Batman of the family.
Yeah. In a statement from the family that was released to the media, they stated that Ricky's upbringing was one that could be compared to growing up in a nudist colony. And then they cited scholars who argue that sexual ideas practiced by groups similar to the family, quote, do not harm children. So there's that. They basically take no responsibility for anything and said that, you know, we weren't a sex cult. We were just a nudist colony. So David Berg, the creator of the family, ultimately died in October of 1994 at the age of 75 in Portugal.
Good.
As David was in such extreme seclusion at the time of his death, there's not much information out there about how he died, but multiple sources stated that his health had been declining for a while and that he was experiencing a mental decline as well as intestinal issues. Not really sure what, I don't know if he had cancer or what, but
I don't know, but I hope he suffered.
I hope he did too, because he's a
forgive me
dick.
for being an asshole, but at the same time.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't wish well on anybody that's going to sexually abuse a child. True. I'm sorry. You're fucking dead to me, and you deserve every horrible thing that comes your way.
1,000.
There is no forgiving that. There's no forgiving that.
1,000%.
That's something that I absolutely... You can't rehabilitate a sex offender. I know I say that all the time. But you can't... I have no... sympathy for people that molest children.
Death penalty.
Fucking none. Yeah.
For all child sex offenders.
Yeah.
And anyone who abuses any animals.
Yeah.
Death penalty. Everyone.
So after David's death, David's wife, Karen Zerby, a.k.a. Maria, who was also, Ricky's mom, she took over leadership of the group, and she renamed it and rebranded it the Family International. And that's how it's known today. This group is still active, although they vehemently deny that they practice any sex cult type activities or that it even happened at all.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
Vehemently.
It's
a good one.
Thanks. And they definitely do not identify as a cult, which, of course they're not going to.
No cult.
They're just a church.
Cult.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They identify as a, quote, Christian fellowship dedicated to sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ around the world. Karen now strictly goes by the name of Karen, so she dropped the whole Maria thing. She is remarried to a man named Steve Kelly, who serves as co-administrative and spiritual director of the Family International. On Karen's website, you can go and listen to audio clips, which include inspirational readings from none other than Karen herself. And I did not listen to those because fuck her.
Agreed.
She even has a LinkedIn account.
Stop.
It was so weird. Like, I just... I don't know, man.
Follow me on LinkedIn.
But despite her very small online presence, Karen Zerby has not been seen publicly since 2010, and her whereabouts are currently unknown. The last footage I could find of her was a Christmas greeting from the Family International, whose YouTube channel has 461 subscribers, by the way. Random. Talking about Jesus and Christmas with her husband, and they look like a couple of fucking idiots. And I'm not even sourcing that video because I don't want to give those pieces of shit any views. Like,
Fair.
Fuck both of them.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Yeah. Ricky's sister, Techie, the one who he vowed to avenge and save from the cult, she's actually still in the cult.
Shit.
And she denies that any abuse happened to her or any other children within the group. So, yeah, she remains with the Family International to this day.
Conspiracy theory. Ricky never offed himself. He took Karen out and is now dressing in drag to be Karen and trying to take it the right way.
Well, that's a hot take.
Coffee.
But yeah, that's the story of the cult of Moses David Berg, the Family International.
I don't like them at all. That's usually what I say in all of the stories that you tell me.
Yeah.
Fuck these people.
And that was my first cult podcast. I love cults. I really do.
That was really interesting because I've never heard of them, and I like.
I hadn't either.
I don't like to follow cults, but I like cult stories.
Yeah, I do too. Well. I find it very fascinating because I don't understand how. I can understand how children become in cult. Like, what am I trying to say? I understand how children can be manipulated in cults because they've grown up with it. They don't know any better.
Right.
But grown-ass adults that are recruited, that shit is baffling to me. Just because, I don't know, I like to think of myself as someone who has a very strong personality and someone who's very strong in their convictions. And I can't ever see somebody coming up to me and like trying to like spout out this shit and me being like, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to move in with you guys. Yeah. And I'm going to give you all my money, and I'm not going to have a bank account, and I'm not going to vote, and I'm not going to have property because everything belongs to this group that I'm in, and just dedicate myself to someone else.
And we're not wearing bras. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. If somebody came up to me like spouting off stuff, of course I'm going to do my best to be nice to them. Yeah, like,
I'm not.
Oh, thank you so much. Sure, I'll take your pamphlet.
No.
And then I'm going to throw it away.
Yeah, no, I won't even take your pamphlet, because do not push your beliefs on me. I don't push my beliefs on anybody.
Right.
If somebody says something that I don't like, it's okay, that's your opinion. Like, fine, we can agree to disagree.
Yep.
Don't push your shit on me. Especially don't come to my residence trying to get me to join your religion. Like, fuck it, don't.
Or get Verizon Fios. I experienced that last week.
Verizon Fios is driving me fucking nuts. They knock on my door like 2 times a fucking day. Probably not this week. They're probably taking a break because of the holidays.
Probably not.
You know. But yeah, fuck you, Verizon, for doing that.
She's over.
I digress.
Stop.
I digress so hard. But yeah, cults are very, very fascinating to me because I don't understand them.
They're
I just
like
don't.
MLMs, kind of.
Oh my God. MLMs are totally like the modern day cults.
Yeah.
And just some of that shit is fucking scary.
It is. It is.
Like the hey girl texts and the hey girl messages. Hey girl.
I showed you the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't with that. Mm-hmm. No.
Nope. And I did, like, you already know, I did, quote, sell a Color Street, but I never actually sold it. I just really liked the product. So
yeah, you just use it for the discounts. Like that, and that's totally fine. I get it. But when you start having to recruit people to make you money, that's fucked up. And that's very cultish.
Yep.
That's what they do in cults.
Exactly.
That's what every cult leader has done. Mm-hmm. They have their followers work for them, and then they take their fucking money.
Yep.
So
Jack and I did Beachbody for a while. Mm-hmm. We didn't, like, again, I was a member.
Yeah.
Because we actively did the videos every day, and we did the Shakeology because we enjoyed it.
I like this Shakeology, though. Somebody at my work gave them to me a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they were good.
I like them. But as soon as they started, like, asking me to recruit and asking me to, like, post me working out, you know, and things like that, I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm not doing that.
No.
So, but the people that I guess need that something in their life,
you
know, need that following, they're trying, I don't know. I just can't.
It makes me sad because so many people lose a lot of money, and they encourage people to like take out loans and like sell their own breast milk. Like LuLaRoe did that.
Yep.
I want to do an episode on LuLaRoe because those two are fucking. Have you ever seen the LuLaRoe documentary on Amazon? Holy shit, you need to watch it. These two people are fucking nuts. They tried to force their female followers to like get gastric sleeve surgery so they could lose weight because they like wanted to rebrand LuLaRoe and like appeal to skinny people.
Are you kidding?
No. Mm-mm.
No.
And the founder of LuLaRoe, I can't even remember her name now, but whatever, she sucks anyway. But she like made a text message group with other females, and she named it the Tijuana Skinnies group, and they would go over to Tijuana and have their surgery.
They're lucky they didn't die.
But yeah. You
get those BBLs in Mexico, man. You're got a 50-50 chance is all I'm saying.
It's scary. I mean, because it's a risky surgery anyway, but I don't know. I don't know if I would trust going out of the country because if something happens, you're fucked. Like, I don't want to die in another country. Like,
I know. I don't want to put anybody on blast. So I'll just say an acquaintance of Jack's. Maybe I'll leave it at that. Did go to, I think it was Mexico, to get a BBL. And after she came home, she got an infection and she died.
Are you kidding?
She died. No. And she had...
From a BBL?
From a BBL. she died. She had 2 teenage sons and a husband.
Oh my God.
And she didn't make it just because it was cheaper to go to Mexico. You know, like I can't. Don't do that. Man, we are digressing hard today. ADD is something.
It's okay. You know, we're not used to filming this early in the morning.
That's true.
We got started really early. It's after the holidays, so we're just kind of like fucking out of it. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm so mentally drained.
My brain's done.
Yeah, I'm just fried. So, I mean, y'all are lucky that you even got an episode this week.
Are they though? Are they lucky?
You should be thanking us.
No,
I'm just kidding. No, it's, yeah, to the 5 people that are listening.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Please accept my apologies.
Khaleesi keeps farting on me. She had too many holiday cookies.
Yeah, my dog has gas. I'm hungover. I don't know. We're doing great over here. We hope you enjoyed the final episode of 2024.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy
Girls,
New Year.
ghosts.
We're going to start out the new year with a fucking banger.
Oh,
But I will warn you, when it comes, you have to have a strong stomach. You gotta have a strong stomach.
Good thing I had a peanut butter bar today.
Yeah.
Or I'll have a peanut butter bar before that episode.
Oh, Lord Jesus. All right.
Bye. Wait.
That was fast. She's like, I'm done. Bye.
I'm done with this. I need a sip of coffee and I can't because I have to talk so close to my microphone.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next Tuesday.
But don't be one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.